Ryan Wells was just a technician, nothing more. He didn't carry a gun, didn't go on missions, and didn't want any kind of adventure. All he wanted was a quiet shift fixing power cables on Moon Station 9. The station was a mining outpost. Far from Earth, not many people lived there, only engineers, workers, and a few scientists. Life was simple, boring, even. But tonight, something strange was about to happen. The lights flickered. Ryan looked up from the control panel he was working on. The hallway lights blinked again, and then suddenly, the entire corridor went dark. Not again. He muttered, power cuts weren't rare on Moon Station 9. The systems were old, and solar flares often messed with the electronics. Ryan grabbed his small flashlight and stood up. He had fixed a dozen blackouts before. He could fix this one too. As he walked toward the power core room, something felt wrong. The air was colder than usual, and quiet. Too quiet. No voices. On the comes, no buzzing machines. Just silence and the sound of his own footsteps. He turned a corner, and then he saw her. A woman stood at the far end of the hall. Tall, still, and strange. Her skin was pale like moonlight. Her hair was dark and fell to her shoulders, but her eyes, they were red. Glowing red. Ryan froze. He had never seen her before. She wasn't part of the crew, and something about her looked not human. Who are you? He asked, trying to sound calm. She didn't answer. Instead, she walked toward him slow and silent, like a shadow sliding across ice. Listen, Ryan said, taking a step back. This is a secure area. You need to. But before he could finish, she was in front of him. She moved too fast. Faster than anything he had ever seen. In one quick motion, she pinned him to the wall. Her hand gripped his shoulder. She wasn't strong. She was unnaturally strong. Her face was close to his now. Her eyes stared into his, and her mouth opened slowly to reveal sharp, white fangs. Ryan's heart raced. His flashlight dropped. To the floor, he couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Was this how it ended? On some cold moon with no one around to help? She leaned closer. He could feel her breath on his neck. Cold, not warm. Her mouth opened wider. The tips of her fangs touched his skin. And then she stopped. The red glow in her eyes flickered. She pulled her head back just an inch and sniffed the air near his neck, like she was searching for something. Her voice came out as a whisper, soft and full of emotion. I remember this scent? Ryan's eyes widened. What? The alien woman stared at him, confused. Her grip on his shoulder loosened. She stepped back, looking at him with something like shock or sadness. I know this scent, she said. Again, it's from long ago. Ryan didn't understand. You've never met me before. Shh, she didn't answer. Her red eyes blinked. Her face was full of questions, like she was remembering something that had been forgotten for a very long time. Then, just as suddenly as she had appeared, she turned around and ran into the darkness. Wait, Ryan shouted, but she was gone. He picked up his flashlight and tried to follow, but the hallway was empty. No sound, no trace, like she had vanished into the air. Ryan stood alone in the hallway for a long time. His hands were still shaking. That woman, no, that creature. Could have killed him, but she didn't, in the way she looked at him. It wasn't anger. It was something else. Something deeper. He slowly walked back to the control room. The power came back on 20 minutes later, but no one else reported seeing anything strange. He tried to tell the station commander, but they just said he was tired or stressed. Take some rest, they said. You've been working too many hours. But Ryan couldn't rest. He couldn't forget her face, her eyes, remembered this scent. What did she mean? That night, as he sat alone in his bunk, Ryan noticed something in his jacket. Pocket. A small silver pendant. Round, with strange markings. He didn't remember picking it up, but it was there. Cold and smooth. He turned it over and over in his hand. When he touched the center symbol, The pendant glowed softly just once, then stopped. Ryan stared at it. Something told him this was only the beginning. The strange woman's glowing red eyes haunted his mind. Her voice echoed in his ears. I remember this scent. It didn't make sense. How could a creature like her know him, or anyone like him? And then there was the silver pendant. He held it in his hand again. The strange markings on it didn't match any human language. It wasn't part of any known tech or uniform either, and when he touched the center, it glowed faintly. From power, it felt like it reacted to him. Ryan couldn't ignore it. He needed answers the next morning. Ryan went to the research wing of Moon Station 9. He met with Dr. Lyra Mendez, a science officer known for her work on alien species and symbols. She was one of the few people on the station who might believe. Something strange had happened. Ryan showed her the pendant and explained. Everything leaving out the part where he was almost bitten. Dr. Lyra listened quietly. Turning the pendant in her hand, her eyes narrowing at the markings. These symbols. I've seen them before, she said at last. Ryan leaned forward. Where? Lyra walked to a tall cabinet and pulled out an old digital file book. She flipped through several pages until she stopped at a blurry photo. It showed a stone wall with the same symbol carved deep into the rock. This was found on a broken space station floating near the edge of the Eridon belt, she explained. We never figured out who built it. The carving some called it the work of the Valari. Ryan frowned. Valari, she nodded. A name from ancient star legends, a race that disappeared thousands of years ago. Some say they drank energy from stars. Others say they drank blood. Ryan's breath caught. In his throat, Dr. Lyra raised an eyebrow. You okay? I think one of them came here, he said slowly. Last night, he told her everything now. The power cut, the strange woman, her eyes, the way she moved, her voice, and the way she looked at him. To his surprise, Dr. Lyra didn't laugh or call him crazy. Instead, she sat down quietly and said, She didn't hurt you? No, Ryan answered. She almost did, but then she stopped. Said she remembered my scent. Dr. Lyra thought for a long moment. Then she stood up and went to her computer. Tell me, she said without. Looking back, did anyone in your family ever work with alien species? Or go off-world for long missions? Ryan shook his head. My parents were teachers. My grandfather fought in the Earth-Mars War. But that's it. Your grandfather. Lyra said softly. What was his name? Samuel Wells. She typed the name into the station archive. A few seconds later, a record popped up. Ryan walked over and looked at the screen. There was a black and white photo of a young man in uniform, his grandfather. Decades ago, but something else caught his eye in the photo. Hanging around his grandfather's neck was a pendant. The same pendant Ryan found in his pocket. His heart started to race. This can't be, whispered. Dr. Lyra stared at the image too, her face pale. She didn't just think she knew your scent. She really did. Somehow she remembers your grandfather. Maybe she met him. Ryan felt a strange pressure in his chest. His grandfather had died years ago, but he used to tell stories. Strange ones. Ryan always thought they were just dreams or made-up tales about a beautiful woman who came to him during battle, who saved him when he was wounded, who disappeared without a name. Was it her? Was the alien woman on the station? The same one from those old war stories? Ryan's head spun with questions. What do I do now? He asked. Dr. Lyra looked serious. We need to know more. If she really is Valari, and she came back after all these years, it means she remembers your bloodline, maybe even carries part of it within her memory. Ryan looked down at the pendant in his hand. It didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt like a key. What does she want? He asked. Dr. Lyra shook her head. I don't know, but if she spared you, maybe she's not your enemy. Slowly, then I need to find her again. That night, Ryan sat on his bunk thinking about everything. He looked at the pendant. It pulsed softly in the dark, as if responding to his heartbeat. And then something happened. He heard a voice. Not outside, but inside his head. You carry the same warmth. the same soul. I remember him. Ryan stood up quickly. Selah, he whispered. He didn't know where the name came from, but it felt right, like something buried deep inside had awakened. The voice returned, softer now. You are not him, but you are part of him. Then silence. Ryan looked out the window. At the moon's endless surface, somewhere out there. She was waiting, and the past wasn't finished with him yet. Ryan couldn't stop thinking about the voice in his head. You're not him, but you're part of him. He hadn't told anyone about it. Not even Dr. Lyra. How could he? No one else had heard it. And somehow, deep in his heart, Ryan knew it wasn't a dream. It was her. The same alien woman who almost bit him. The one who left behind a pendant. The one who remembered his grandfather. Her name echoed in his mind again, Selah. He didn't know how he knew her name. It had never been said out loud. But when he whispered it, it felt natural, like a memory passed down through blood. 2 days later, Ryan made a decision. He packed a small bag with water, a flashlight, and a tracking device. He left a message for Dr. Lyra, just in case. Then he walked quietly through the outer tunnels of Moon Station 9, heading toward the caves beyond the perimeter. The air was thinner out there, and the rocks were sharp. No one usually went that far. But Ryan had seen something on the station's map, an old mine tunnel that had been closed for years. It went deep underground, beneath the mountains. Something told him she was there. He walked for hours. The silence of the moon felt heavy. It's just his own footsteps and the soft hum of his breathing suit. Finally, he found the cave. It was dark and cold inside. The walls were smooth, almost too smooth, like they had been shaped by someone long ago. Strange symbols were carved into the stone, the same ones from the pendant. He followed them, step by step, deeper into the cave. The symbols glowed faintly when he passed. The pendant around his neck became warm. Then he heard a sound, not loud, just the soft echo of movement. He stopped Selah. He called, voice shaky. Silence. Then a figure stepped from the shadows. She was just as he remembered. Pale skin, long dark hair, red eyes that glowed like distant stars. She wore a dark robe made of thin, flowing fabric. She looked like a dream, or a memory. You came, she said softly. Ryan nodded slowly. I had to. They stood in silence. For a moment, staring at each other. I remember your grandfather, she said. He was kind. Wounded, but kind. Ryan swallowed hard. He told stories about a woman who saved him. I thought they were just made up. Fairy tales. They were real, Selah said. He was dying during a war. I found him. I gave him a drop of my blood to heal his wounds. I didn't know it would bond me to his line. To you? Why did you try to bite me? Ryan asked. Slay looked away, awoke from a long sleep. I was weak, hungry. I didn't know who you were at first. But then, your scent. It brought back everything. I remembered him. Ryan stepped closer. You're Valari, aren't you? She nodded slowly. Yes, I am the last of my kind. He looked around the cave. Is this your home? Was she said. Before the wars. Before my people vanished, I hid here to sleep, to survive. But I was never supposed to wake again. Ryan looked down at the pendant. Then why now? Selah's eyes softened. Because you came here. The blood bond. It pulled me from sleep. You are not him. But you carry him inside you. Ryan felt a strange warmth in his chest. Like her words filled a space he didn't know was empty. I don't understand all of this, he said, but I want to. Selah turned and walked deeper into the cave. Then follow me. She led him to a large chamber. In the center stood a glowing crystal structure. It hummed gently. Round it were walls covered with carvings and star maps. This is what remains of Valaria memory, she said. Our history. Our pain. Ryan looked up at the carvings. He saw images of tall, graceful beings with glowing eyes, ships that traveled through black holes, stars being harvested for energy. And then, war, fire, falling cities, darkness. What happened? he asked. Sayla's voice was quiet. We lived too long. Became too proud. We thought we could rule death itself. But in the end, it was death that ruled us. She touched one of the carvings. I survived. But I lost everything. Ryan felt her pain in those words. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, he admitted. I'm just a technician. You're more than that, Sayla said. You carry our connection. You're the bridge between human and Valari. Does that matter? Because others have awakened, she whispered. And not all of them are like me. Some want war again, and they will come for you. Ryan felt his heart beat faster. Why me? Because of your blood, she said. Because of what your grandfather and I shared. You're proof that Valari and human can be one. She stepped closer, her red eyes soft now. I didn't mean to frighten you that night. I didn't know who you were. But now I remember. Ryan looked into her eyes. I'm not afraid anymore, he said. They sat in silence for a while near the glowing crystal. Ryan asked her questions. About the stars, the Valari way of life. They needed energy. Why they lived so long? Sayla answered patiently, her voice like music in the quiet cave. As the hours passed, something changed between them. They weren't just stranger and survivor anymore. They were connected. Through blood, through memory, through time. When Ryan stood to leave, Sayla handed him a small stone disc. If you need me, she said, hold this and speak my name. He took it carefully. Will I see you again? Yes, she said softly. Soon. Ryan walked back to the station under the pale light of the moon. The pendant on his chest felt warm again. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew one thing. The past was not gone. It was alive, and it had red eyes. Ryan returned to Moon Station 9 just before sunrise. His suit was covered in dust, and his mind was full of questions. The walk back from the cave had felt longer than before. Every step echoed with memory Sayla's voice, the glowing crystal, the stories of her lost people. And one sentence repeated in his mind, others have awakened. It scared him the most. When he arrived at the lab, Dr. Lyra Mendez was already there, sipping a hot drink and reviewing data on her screen. You look like you've been out all night, she said, raising an eyebrow. I was, Ryan replied, tired but serious. And I found her again. Dr. Lyra stopped typing. You met the alien woman? Ryan nodded. Her name is Sayla. She's Valari. And she remembers my grandfather. Lyra blinked. You're serious? Ryan placed the pendant and the small stone disc on the table. She gave me this, she said. I can call her if I'm in danger. Double quotes, Dr. Lyra carefully picked up the stone. This technology isn't human. It reacts to body heat and maybe to thoughts. She told me others like her are waking up, Ryan said. But not all of them are peaceful. Dr. Lyra sat back, suddenly quiet. What is it? Ryan asked. She turned the monitor to face him. While you were gone, I picked up something strange. Look, on the screen were scans from the outer moon's surface. A small ship had entered the system silently, without sending any signal. It had no known identification. It had just landed a few kilometers away from the station. It arrived 2 hours ago, she said. No contact. No movement since. Ryan felt a chill. Could it be one of them? He asked. Dr. Lyra nodded. If Sayla's right, and there are others, then yes, this could be one. Ryan's heart beat faster as he stared at the screen. What if they're looking for me? He asked. Dr. Lyra turned serious. That's very possible, Sayla said. Your blood carries something. Something they might want. Ryan remembered the glowing pendant, the symbols on the walls, the way Sayla looked at him not with hunger, but with recognition. I'm not special, he said quietly. I'm just a technician. Dr. Lyra looked him in the eye. Ryan, your grandfather's blood mixed with hers? Maybe not completely, but enough to create a bond, a bridge between species. It's rare. That's powerful. Ryan shook his head slowly. I didn't ask for any of this. No one ever does, she replied. But now it's your responsibility. Later that day, Ryan stood on the observation deck, staring out at the gray surface of the moon. In the distance, just beyond the hills, he could see the faint outline of the landed ship. It didn't move. It didn't shine. But it watched. He touched the stone Sayla gave him. It was cold in his hand. "Sayla," he whispered. Nothing happened. He tried again, louder this time. Still silence. Maybe she couldn't hear him. Maybe it wasn't time yet. That night, something changed. Ryan was walking down the quiet hallway toward the power room when the lights flickered again. Just like the first time, and then a sound. Soft. Quick. Behind him, he turned fast. A tall figure stood at the end of the corridor. It looked like Sayla. Same pale skin, same red eyes. But something was different. The eyes were colder. Face sharper. The smile. "Cruel, Ryan Wells," the figure said in a voice like ice. "I found you." Ryan stepped back. "Who are you?" "I am Valari," the being answered, like Sayla. "But I did not come to remember. I came to finish what was lost." It moved closer, not running, just gliding, slow and smooth. Ryan grabbed the stone disc and held it tightly. "Sayla." He shouted, "Please, nothing." The Valari man raised a hand. "Your blood is the last piece. With it, we can bring back our power, our people, our rule." "I'm not giving you anything," Ryan said, his voice shaking. "You don't need to give," the man whispered. "We will take." Suddenly, a bright flash filled the hallway. Sayla appeared between them, faster than light. Her cloak spun in the air, and her hand glowed with pale energy. "You will not touch him," she said sharply. The male Valari narrowed his eyes. "Sayla, you betrayed your kind for a human." "I saved a soul," she replied. "You chase shadows." The two faced each other, two ancient beings, one calm and sad, the other angry and cold. Ryan didn't move. The male hissed and stepped back. "This is not over. The others will come." Then he disappeared into the air, gone. Without a sound, Ryan slowly walked toward Sayla. "You came," he whispered. She looked at him gently. "I heard you, just in time. Who was he?" Ryan asked. "His name is Varric," she said. "He was once a warrior. Now he wants to rebuild our race. Using your blood. Why me?" "Because you're the bridge," she said again. "The child of peace and memory. You carry a bond between us. Some would use it to start a new war." Ryan looked at the spot where Varric had stood. "He'll be back, won't he?" Sayla nodded. "Yes, and others too. We must be ready." Later, in Dr. Lyra's lab, Ryan explained everything. She was quiet for a while, then said, "We need to protect the station. And you." Ryan nodded. "I'll do whatever it takes." Sayla stood beside him. "You are not alone anymore," Ryan looked at her and felt something new, not fear, but strength. Maybe he wasn't just a technician after all. Maybe he was something more. Ryan stood in the control room of Moon Station 9, staring at the screen. The enemy ship had moved closer. It now hovered just beyond the communication tower, silent, dark, and waiting. Sayla stood beside him, arms crossed, her red eyes glowing softly in the low light. "He'll return," she said. "Varric never gives up." Ryan clenched his jaw. "Then we have to be ready." Dr. Lyra entered the room, holding a datapad. "Ryan, I've scanned your blood sample again. Something's changed." Ryan looked at her. "What do you mean?" "Since you met Sayla again, your Valari markers have grown stronger," she said. "It's like the connection between you two. I woke something up inside you." Ryan turned to Sayla. "What does that mean?" Sayla looked serious. "Your body is responding to the bond. No, you're still human, but your blood carries ancient memory. Valari memory. You can use it if you learn how." "Use it how?" Ryan asked. "To protect yourself and others," Sayla answered. "But we must go to the old place, the Valari temple. Only there can I teach you." Dr. Lyra nodded. "We can't wait for Varric to make the first move. Go now. I'll monitor from here." Ryan took a deep breath. "Let's do it." The journey back to the Valari cave was different this time. Ryan wasn't just walking into the unknown anymore. He was walking with purpose, and beside him was Selah, not as a stranger, but as an ally. As they entered the deep chamber with the glowing crystal, the air felt heavier, ancient. The symbols on the walls flickered as Ryan stepped closer. The pendant on his chest glowed softly. "You feel it now?" Selah asked. Ryan nodded, like something is watching, but not in a bad way. "The temple remembers blood," she said. "Yours speaks to it." Selah placed her hand on the crystal. A beam of soft white light rose from its center and wrapped around them. Strange symbols floated in the air. "This is Valari teaching light," she said. "Let it show you who you are." Ryan stepped into the light. Instantly, visions filled his mind. He saw stars being born, then fading. He saw cities floating in space. He saw his grandfather, younger, wounded, holding Selah's hand. He saw himself not just fixing machines, but standing beside others, leading them. And then he saw Varric spreading darkness, taking life. To restore Valari power, Ryan opened his eyes, breathing hard. "That was a lot," he said. "You saw what I saw," Selah said gently. "You are part of my past and my future." Ryan looked down at his hands. "I don't want to hurt anyone." "You don't have to," Selah replied. "But you must learn to protect." For the next few hours, Selah trained him. She taught him how to listen, not with ears, but with blood. How to feel changes in the air, how to sense movement before it happened, and how to control the pendant's glow with thought. Ryan struggled. At first, but slowly, something inside him responded. Not like magic, but like a door opening. "You are learning fast," Selah said, smiling faintly. "I had a good teacher," Ryan replied. They rested beside the glowing crystal. Ryan looked at her carefully. "Can I ask you something?" said. Selah nodded. "Why did you save my grandfather?" Selah paused. Her voice was quiet when she answered, "Because he was brave. He saw me when others ran. He didn't scream. He didn't fight. He asked if I was hurt." She smiled sadly. No one had ever done that before. Ryan looked down. "He never forgot you." Even when he got old, he always told stories about the moon woman with fire in her eyes. Selah closed her eyes. "And now I see him. In you." They sat. In silence. Then the temple lights flickered. Selah stood up fast. "Something's wrong." A deep vibration shook the cave. Dust fell from the ceiling. "Varric," she whispered. Ryan grabbed his bag. Back at the station, alarms were blaring. Dr. Lyra's voice came through Ryan's earpiece. "Enemy forces just landed near the West Tower. I think it's not just Varric. He brought others." Ryan and Selah ran through the tunnels, heading back. When they reached the outer wall, they saw them. 3 tall figures with pale skin and glowing eyes stood outside the gates. Varric was in the center, his cloak fluttering in the windless air. Selah stepped forward. "You brought war. I brought justice," Varric replied. "The blood must return to us." "You will not touch him," she said. Ryan stood beside her. His pendant glowed bright now, like it was alive. Varric's eyes narrowed. "You taught him?" "I helped him remember who he is." Varric raised a hand, and energy shot toward them. Selah blocked it with her own power, the force shaking the ground. Ryan felt heat in his chest. He lifted his hand without thinking. Pulse of white light burst from his palm. Varric and his warriors stumbled back. "He's learning," Selah said, surprised. "I didn't even mean to," Ryan whispered. "Good," she smiled. "Then we still have a chance." Inside the station, a battle began. The power flickered. Walls shook. People ran to safety. Ryan and Selah fought side by side. He didn't use weapons. He used light energy from the pendant, guided by memory. The Valari warriors were strong, but not united. Some hesitated when they saw Ryan's light. One even stepped back, whispering, "He's the bridge." Varric roared in anger. "You cannot stop me, Selah. Betrayed your own kind for a human." "I chose peace," she replied. "You chose power." With one final strike, Selah and Ryan combined their energy. A wave of soft white light pushed through the station, knocking down the attackers without harm. Varric collapsed to his knees. Ryan stepped forward. It's over. Varric looked up at him with tired eyes. You could have been one of us. Ryan shook his head. I already am. Varric disappeared in a flash of smoke. The station was safe again, the Valari. Ship left silently. Ryan stood with Sayla and Dr. Lyra in the control room, looking at the stars. The battle is done, Sayla said, but the story is not. Ryan nodded. Then let's keep writing it. The stars above Moon Station, 9, shined brighter than usual. Ryan stood at the edge of the station, staring into the dark sky. The battle was over. The strange Valari ship had left, and the enemy warriors had vanished. For now, there was peace. But deep inside, Ryan knew this peace would not last forever. Sayla stood beside him, her long dark hair moving softly with the breeze from the air vents. Her eyes no longer glowed with danger. Now they glowed with calm. And sadness. They'll return, won't they? Ryan asked. Yes, she said quietly. Maybe not tomorrow, but others like Varric still live. They will search for power, for old blood, for what they lost. Ryan looked down at his hands. Then we have to be ready. Sayla nodded. You're stronger now. You're not the same. Man I met that night in the hallway. Ryan gave a small smile. Back when you almost bit me? Her eyes softened. I didn't know who you were. I was lost in hunger, till I smelled his blood in you. Ryan took a deep breath. He remembered him. I never forgot, Sayla said. Even when I slept for hundreds of years, his kindness stayed with me. And now I see that same kindness in you. They both stood in silence, watching the stars. Later that day, Ryan visited Dr. Lyra's lab. She was checking readings from the defense systems. Everything looks stable now, she said. And we've added new shielding based on Sayla's energy pattern. If another attack happens, we'll be more prepared. Ryan looked around the lab. You've done a lot. Thank you, Dr. Lyra smiled. You're the one who faced down. An ancient warrior. I just worked the machines. She turned serious. Ryan, you know this isn't over, right? I know, he said. But I'm not afraid anymore. Lyra studied him. You've changed, because I had to. He replied, for the station. For Sayla. For the future. That night, Ryan returned to the Valari cave with Sayla. They walked through the quiet tunnels until they reached the glowing crystal in the center. Its light was dim now, resting like a heartbeat slowed down. Sayla touched the stone gently. This place will sleep again, but awake when it's needed. Ryan nodded. Just like you did. She looked at him. You helped me remember what it means to protect, not just to survive. He looked around the cave. So what happens now? Sayla turned to face him fully. Her voice was soft. Now I must leave. Ryan's chest tightened. Leave? Why? There are others out there, Valari, who are lost, confused, or angry like Varric. I need to find them, before someone else does. Ryan stepped closer. You don't have to do it alone. I've walked the stars alone for centuries, she said gently. But now I have something I didn't have before. I have hope. Ryan lowered his head. Will I ever see you again? She smiled, not sad but warm. You carry my memory, as I carry yours. When the time is right, I will return. He reached into his pocket and took out the small stone disc she had given him. Then take this back, he said, so you can find me next time. Sayla slowly took the disc, their hands touching for a brief moment. I will remember, she said softly. Not just your scent, but your courage, your heart. Ryan swallowed hard. Goodbye, Sayla. Not goodbye, she replied. Just for now. The next day the moon was calm. Ryan watched as Sayla's old ship Sleek and Silver with glowing symbols rose into the sky. It disappeared quietly into the stars like a whisper. He stood outside for a long time. Holding the glowing pendant in his hand, Dr. Lyra joined him. She's gone, he nodded. Lyra crossed her arms. You think she'll come back? Ryan said, when we need her. Lyra smiled. Then let's keep the station strong, for when that day comes. Weeks passed. The station returned to normal life. Systems were fixed. The power grid was stable. Ryan returned to his daily duties. But he wasn't just a technician anymore. People looked at him differently now, with respect. They called him the Bridge. Some even believed his story. Others didn't. But that didn't matter to Ryan. He knew the truth. One night he sat in the quiet observatory. The stars above him blinked gently like distant eyes. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Wherever you are, stay safe." And for a brief moment, just a flash, he felt something warm in his chest, as if someone far away had heard him. The Valari were not gone. The story was not over, and the bridge between their worlds still stood, stronger than ever.